Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Here to talk about Monster Hunter Wilds and all of the updates. The PC version has gotten a benchmark tool, has been released, which you want to utilize to see how it's going to run on your PC. However, while a benchmark tool I very much appreciate, you do ultimately need to wait and see how the game actually runs in real time when the game is available. But thankfully, there will be a beta test that will be kicking off tomorrow, and they have lowered the system requirements. I still don't find them ideal, but I do like that they've lowered them. So right off the bat, we do have a benchmark tool that is available to download for everyone for the game, and it will test your PC, see how it runs. I'm pretty sure most of you guys are gonna have a PC that will be at least playable with this game. This game can scale down to some pretty older PCs. I don't want to say lower end PCs, but fairly older PCs. Like I saw people with, I think, a GTX 1070 where they were still getting 30 frames per second on the game. So, you know, there is that. However, when it comes to a benchmark tool, very, very nice to have, but ultimately you do want to see the game ran in a real world scenarios. A benchmark tool is just that. It's a benchmark tool, and it's nice to have, but to give you a baseline and a guideline performance expectation, but in terms of crashes and things of that nature, that'll be something more so you can realize when the game is actually out and you are running the game. But I do appreciate Capcom actually listening to feedback, because this is something that I was talking about back in like September of last year when the system requirements initially dropped. They were insanity if you actually looked at them, and I get it that people were so excited for this game, because as far as the videos I made, me talking about Monster Hunter Wilds' system requirements were one of the more disliked videos. I mean, it's like I had a 9 to 1 like to dislike ratio, but a 10% dislike ratio for me, that's a little bit higher than my average video, and I would just have to assume it's because people are so excited for this game, and it's like, guys, I'm excited for the game as well. There are a lot of PC games that I'm incredibly excited for that ultimately have really bad PC versions, and when I see the signs of that, obviously I'm going to bring it up. I'm not trying to have people spend $70 or, you know, $58 at Green Man Gaming. Link in the description box below if you want the game a little bit cheaper. Steam key, you won't pay any tax, but yeah, my shilling's over. But I'd like to know about, or I like to point out things that are a little bit concerning, and I thought when this game was recommending, I believe it was an RTX 4060 initially, which is whatever, recommending a 4000 series GPU for a newer modern game like this, that's not a big deal. It's when you read the fine print and you see that they are saying that, hey, 1080p 60 FPS frame gen at medium settings. Now, to be fair, they have adjusted the system requirements as well, and let's go through that. Minimum requirements: a Core i5 10400 or an Intel Core i3 12100, Ryzen 5 3600, 16 gigs of RAM, a GTX 1660 and an RX 5500 XT. SSD required. The game is expected to run at 1080p upscaled from 720 native resolution, 30 FPS under the lowest graphics setting. You know, utilizing DLSS in your system requirements is whatever. I would ideally like them not to, but if you are going to, make it abundantly clear, and at the very least, they are making it abundantly clear here. I have a little bit more of an issue with the recommended requirements. Intel Core i5 10400, Intel Core i3 12100, Ryzen 5 3600, 16 gigs of RAM, and RTX 2060 and RX 6600. Those requirements are fine. They actually lowered the GPU requirement from a 4060 to a 2060. I have an issue with this game is expected to run at 1080p 60 FPS with frame generation enabled under the medium graphics setting. Now, I do believe Capcom is utilizing this as just a let's be careful and say with frame gen enabled, because I think people with an RTX 2060 used the benchmark tool and used these settings with frame gen disabled, and they were getting 60 FPS. However, frame gen just being in the system requirements, I just think that sets a bad precedent. DLSS, you know, you can make an argument whether or not that should be in there. Frame gen at this point should not be included in any system requirements with how janky it is at this point. Spider-Man 2 with frame gen gave issues to a lot of people, and that's just something I don't want to see in recommended requirements. Maybe at some point when frame gen is more polished, but right now, absolutely not. And A lot of people would even vehemently disagree with me on implementing DLSS and FSR into requirements. People just don't want to see the AI, the fake frames, the fake pixels. They don't want to see any of that stuff in system requirements. I think DLSS is incredible technology, personally. I know people will shout fake pixels. I think the performance boost versus the visual offset is negligible, and you're getting the performance boost is remarkable with DLSS enabled, and y'all want to scream fake pixels and all that stuff. More power to you. Now, I think, like, earlier iterations of FSR were absolute garbage, but DLSS at this point, if implemented correctly, like, some games, like, I saw Indiana Jones playing Indiana Jones with DLSS, I thought it was tremendous, but nonetheless, I get it why people have their issues with that, and for sure, I could see things like DLSS, things like frame gen, even in isolated instances, if in this case, frame gen is just utilized as a, hey, let's err on the side of caution and say 1080p 60 with frame gen enabled. The fact is, not every game is gonna view it that way, and when we get comfortable with DLSS and frame gen being a part of system requirements, now it's being utilized as a crutch and no longer something supplementary to game performance, because that's what DLSS was intended to be. DLSS was something intended to be, okay, you can get a little bit of a performance boost, okay, this will increase the longevity of older video cards, but now it does feel like, okay, DLSS is a core part of running these games, and when they look as good as they do with the performance boost that you're getting, I can see why that is. It's just, you do get into that territory of potentially getting into the world of utilizing DLSS and frame gen as a crutch rather than it just being a bonus, and I think you saw that with the initial Monster Hunter Wilds requirements. This time around, I don't see that as much, even though they are noting it, given that an RTX 2060 at 1080p is seemingly running this game. But also, that is under the medium graphics setting, and I question whether or not recommended requirements should be 1080p medium settings. 1080p is not the recommended resolution, I would say, for most people. I think most people, even if the Steam stats are saying, oh, most people are still on 1080p displays, you gotta remember that Steam stats include every single Steam users. There's a lot of people with lower end PCs. We're talking about the people that are gonna have inherent interest in a game like Monster Hunter Wilds. Are the majority of them gonna be playing on a 1080p display? Maybe, maybe not, but I feel like these days, a lot of people are looking at game at 4K, a lot of people are looking at game at 1440p, and for recommended to be 1080p 60 frame gen enabled at medium settings, I just think that should be, this is why we need multiple tiers of system requirements. First of all, we need like 4 tiers for a game like this, but nonetheless, we only have 2, so I just bring up that for you guys as well. Lastly, I do want to know, we are going to get more insight on how this game is going to be running, given that there is a second open beta test that'll be kicking off tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific time, and it'll be running until Sunday, 6:59 Pacific time, and then another open beta test will be running on February 13th until February the 16th, same time windows for that as well. So, if you want more insight and you want to see real-time gameplay as far as how the performance has improved, if it has improved, we'll see that with the second beta test. Like I said, if you do want the game a little bit cheaper, link in the description box below to Green Man Gaming. They've got it significantly cheaper, 18% off if you're an XP member. It's like $56 and change, $57 and change, and if you're not an XP member, it's still 16% off. You won't pay tax either. You'll get a Steam key. You're getting the game considerably cheaper, given that Capcom games are $70 now. Not a bad shout if you do want to pick it up. That's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.